Yo, 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 it's the 1409 podcast. It's your boy GualaMeetsWorld. And tonight we're joined by a special guest, a scientist, and an education specialist, Miss Sha'Rell Webb.
Well, hello. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here with you all.
Miss Well, you care to say something for the listeners out there?
Yes, absolutely. So I am excited to be here with you. Thank you for having me. It's definitely an honor and a privilege. So thank you for having me on.
Okay. And after we give our introductions, we like to take shots, but you don't have to partake if you don't drink. But I'm going to uphold the tradition there and
Yeah,
take my
I
shot.
have a little something.
Okay.
I shall take one with you. It's just going to be water, but I shall take it.
Okay.
You ready?
Oh wait, what do you want to give a toast to? You got to give us a toast before you take the shot. We like to let our guests give a toast.
My toast would be to prosperity during this pandemic.
Okay. Okay, Miss Well, you care to share three things people may not know about you?
Yeah, I know that you mentioned scientists in the beginning, but I personally am not a scientist. I did study science in school, and my undergrad degree is in science. Matter of fact, it's in biology and chemistry. But I myself would not say that I'm a scientist, but I work with scientists, and so I definitely want to set that record straight so they would not be coming after me. But the three things that someone may or may not know about me is that I was actually adopted. I was adopted when I was 2 years old. Something else that someone may not know about me is that I actually love playing tennis. And the third thing would be that I find science in everything that I do.
Science is the way of life, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, so you grew up in Houston, Texas, right?
No, I actually grew up in Lufkin, Texas.
Okay. Less than where is that located? What's the nearest biggest city?
So Lufkin, the nearest city is you actually would go down 59. So if you're in Humble, right, you hit 59. They call it 69 now, but you hit 69. It turns to 59. It's about an hour and a half away. You have Diabol, you have Corrigan, then you have Lufkin. So it's those small towns leading up to the biggest Lord, the biggest small town, which is Lufkin.
Okay. So how was your upbringing?
It was quite interesting. So, as I mentioned before, that I was adopted when I was two, but that definitely has some negative connotation around it. But I actually was taken in by my aunt and uncle. They were officially my aunt and uncle, but fortunately, they had also raised my mom. I know who she is. Matter of fact, we talk every single day. And so that was different because a lot of times when you think of adoption, you think about the child being separated. So even though we were not under the same roof, I knew her, and my parents were old school. So they were in their 50s when I came around. So they were very strict in how I carried myself. When you get out of bed in the morning time, you make your bed up. No walking around with shoes, socks on. You have to have shoes, things like that. So it was very structured home.
Would you say that home mold you into you are who you are today?
Absolutely, absolutely. I am very strategic. and very organized in a lot of my ways. You know how people say you have an old soul, and so that has resonated with me and stuck with me forever. And so, thinking about doing something before you do it, and always making them proud, and it kind of made me grow up a little bit faster because while they were elderly and while they were old, I took care of them. And so I started driving when I was 14 years old. Think about I'm 4'11", and my first car was a Lincoln Continental, long car, right? Long, big
Big body.
body. But that's the first car I yes, and so that's the first car that I drove because they were not able at the time to like go to pharmacy, pick up their medicine and things like that. And so I was able to get out about and drive around, pick up groceries, pick up medicine, and bring it back home. And we were in a small town, so they knew that. But you think about this day and age, there's no way a pharmacist would allow a 14-year-old to come pick up medicine for their parents. It's just too much going on right now. So that was very different then.
So when is the earliest you can remember you telling yourself that you wanted to be an educator?
Um, I actually don't think I've ever told myself. I don't think I ever told myself that I wanted to be an educator. My first love was I've always said when I was growing up that I wanted to be a psychiatrist. I wanted to be a psychiatrist because there was a psychiatrist in my family, and I knew ultimately I wanted to help people. Hands down, I knew I always wanted to help people. And I really didn't understand what a psychiatrist does, but it piqued my interest so much that it was something interesting that I wanted to know more. And so that gravitated into nursing. And nursing, again, you're helping someone. I took care of my elderly parents. So I knew that I wanted to do something in the area of taking care of people. And once I graduated college, my sister came to me. She was a principal. And she said, Sha'Rell, I really need a science teacher because my kids are not getting it. My kids are not getting it, so I need you. And so I told her, okay. And so then I sought to get my alternative certification program. So I didn't go to school for nursing, but I sought out the alternative certification program to get my teacher certification.
So did you always have a love for science? Like was it yeah.
Absolutely. I did. And I did because not a lot of people got it. And I wanted to be that person. I naturally I just got it. And so I was the person that people would come to, even my peers. I would tutor them. I would tutor them and I was the same age as them. But I liked the fact that I knew something that other people didn't get. But I also love explaining to them how it worked, how I got it, and why it is nature and why it happens and why it works and why it functions and all of that.
Okay. So what led to you creating coding with a twist?
Wow. Okay. So this is a little bit loaded, but I'm ready for it. So,
We
as a
ready.
classroom educator, so I didn't actually. So I actually didn't get to be the educator for my sister's school because I wasn't fully certified, and so at this point they were not hiring people who were not fully certified. So long story short, being in the classroom, teaching science, teaching these TEKS, what is called the Texas Essential Knowledge for Skills, the TEKS that tells you as a teacher in the classroom what to teach the kids. And so I'm a lifelong learner. So any and every professional development that I can go to better myself, to better my kids, I was in there. And so it was this professional development that I attended, and it was given from Rice University called computational thinking, coding and computational thinking. And it piqued my interest because I just wanted to be better. And so, while attending this particular professional development, I discovered coding, programming, and I fell in love. I fell in love
Mm.
that I scratched the lesson that I had planned and I revised it to insert computer science or coding into my science class. And it blew my mind in such a way that I was like, you know what? This is what's going to change the landscape, the environment, the community, the
Mm.
mindset of the students that I'm teaching. It's not what the state of Texas is telling me to teach the kids. It's not. And so I saw coding as something that was going to empower them to change their environment. Like that's what was going to be their ticket outside of their environment. And so from there, my passion just grew. And even though others, even my administrators, didn't see it, I saw it. And I never allowed her to waver that vision that I had for my students.
For sure. So, what is? I know you talked a little bit about the goals, but if you had to put the ultimate goal for coding with the twist, what would it
So,
be?
so the ultimate goal with coding with the twist is to get all of those early, not career, those early childhood centers have an emerging curriculum just like math, reading, science, social studies, that it will be in all early career facilities that introduces them to this computer language that they're digital natives to. A lot of times people are saying, like, oh my goodness, how does that kid know that already? And they haven't seem like they've been in this world before. But technology is just instilled into their DNA. If it's instilled in their DNA, why aren't they learning it at an early stage? Like, why aren't they learning to properly use it at that early stage versus just watching YouTube, just receiving information? In other countries, they are learning these computer skills much earlier, and that's why they're dominating the innovation, the creativity, and the creation of the games
Mm.
that ultimately our youth are consuming.
That's a very interesting point because I know me personally, I can say I never looked at it, from that point of view. Which you're right. A lot of coders are not, our color, and it's money to be made in that,
Yeah,
and not just money, but it's a form of creativity, learning, and we appreciate what you're doing for making it fun and also giving our community another chance, or another opportunity to excel at something.
absolutely. Absolutely. It has changed my thought process. And really, that's what it is. It's a strategical, or it's thinking strategically, like almost in chronological order, and if you're able to look at a line of code and to decipher or to find the bug, this could actually be a career of a data scientist, right? Or someone that's into cybersecurity. And if we're looking up the statistics now, if we look up cybersecurity, that's like a number one tech job to have. Think about that as being future proof, pandemic proof. So many families are talking about, they lost their position, they lost their jobs. Well, jobs like that, STEM careers, they're not being laid off. They're not being, you know, fired because they're in a job that solves a problem. They're in a position that solves a problem.
So, where do you see the technology going from in the next 5 years, or computer based technology? We're talking with coding. Where do you see it going in the next 5 years?
Well, I mean, really, it's in everything. It's in everything that we're doing. So think about this. If you are still not understanding how a computer formulates, how to make it work, how to make it do something, and we're going in that direction, if you don't understand the language, then someone else is going to ultimately have to build it for you, program it for you, make it work for you. Then going to be a greater divide, technical divide. So, say for instance, if you're at the ATM, okay? If you're at the
Mm-hmm.
ATM, you choose, how they only dish out cash in increments of 20, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was a programmer that did that. But what if he messed it up, right? You asked for $200, but you only got out $100. Well, is that your fault or is that the programmer fault? Well, in that situation, that's the programmer fault because it's incorrect. But what are you going to do about it? How are you going to back that? We see autonomous cars being made, being created. Are we just going to be the consumers? Or are we going to see the problem and say, you know what? Mm, I want to modify that. What are you going to do? Pay someone to modify it for you? Or you want to be the person that actually comes up with the plan to modify it? And in our culture now we just want to pay for someone because it's convenience, because we don't want to take the time to think about it to solve the problem. So, it's that microwavable thing. We want things so quick and ready and just delivered to us on the platter versus, doing things from the ground up. So, my biggest push now is just to get kids to think strategically, no matter how hard it is in their mind. And it's only going to get harder if you don't sit down and learn it.
True. So, do you have like an age limit with coding with the twist, or all ages are welcome?
No, not at all. All ages are definitely welcome. I actually don't put an age limit on it because just because you're 18 years old, just because you're 15 years old, 13, 12, whatever, doesn't mean that this is a skill that you can just learn right off the bat. Again, it's that processing, it's that strategically thinking. So there may be a kid that's 5, 6, or 7 years old that will actually do the rigor of testing it out because it's all about um, trial and error. And so, with younger kids, they're actually going to try and error it until they get it right. Whereas older children around the 13, 14, 15, if they don't get it in like the first 3 times, they're like, I'm not doing this. Right? Because they are used to getting up and adults around them allowing them to step away to give up and say, no, that's not for me. It didn't work the first
Mhm.
3 times, so I'm not going to do it anymore. But you take those younger kids, oh, they're going to do it until they get it right. They're going to keep trial and error until they get it right. And that's the biggest difference. So when it comes to ages and coding, my preference is younger because they got that grit, that grind, that tenacity. As kids get older, they want everything microwaved. So I believe that as they grow older, it's harder to teach them a new skill because that resilience isn't there.
Yeah, when you get older, you get a little bit more wisdom, as they say. You get a little too smart for your own good sometimes. But that's
Yeah,
great though. That
but
I'm sorry. You can, you can go ahead. Were you saying something?
No, I was saying, yeah, but that's the down part of it though. Because when when someone's trying to teach you something because you've been molded into thinking that because you didn't get it the first 3 times or 4 or 5 times that you can just step away. Oh, it's not for me because I didn't get it. So I'm talking about that grit, that grind, that tenacity, that's lost in our younger generation or our, middle school, high school generation.
I think it's because, like you said, everybody wants things microwave, and when they hear of a way to create generational wealth, or as our generation like to say, get to a bag, they think it's supposed to be quick. I feel like it's a disconnect with people wanting to wait the process out. Like if
Absolutely.
if you wanted to
Oh,
be,
yeah.
I'm sorry, you can go ahead.
No, I mean, no, I think that you are spot on. It's definitely some principles that I live by every day is that sow, time, and harvest. We have to give it time. It's a process, just like investments. And you talking about generational wealth, you think that it's going to just be overnight to change your family tree? How can it be?
Mm, they think it's gonna change their whole world in overnight.
Mm-mm.
So, when did the Lunar and Planetary Institute come into fruition?
Well, my last year of being in the classroom, we all know, well, of course, this was post, or not, excuse me, not post, but pre pandemic. And so there was our opportunity, and we always talk about, networking. And so, like I told you before, I was definitely a professional development junkie. I was always attending professional developments. Matter of fact, I got into Earth and Space while teaching eighth grade science.
Hmm.
I definitely felt that my very first year of teaching eighth grade science, I definitely felt like I taught it okay when it came to Earth and Space. But realistically, I could have really taught it better. Like I could have done a better job of teaching the section of Earth and Space. So after reflecting on that, I then immersed myself into Earth and Space professional development. So anything that was given out about that particular reporting category, I attended it. Matter of fact, it was reporting category 3. So I immersed myself going to space camps and national Earth and Space conferences. And I stumbled across this phenomenal conference. It's called SEEK, and it's SEEC, and it's held at the Space Center Houston every single year. Well, I surrounded myself with these people, with these other educators, with these fellow educators that love Earth and space. Like this is what they do. And so by me being around people that loved it, it gave me a connection that I didn't have before. And so I started attending space camp myself. I started meeting new individuals, different cultures, all of that. And one of my friends on Facebook, she actually posted the position. And at this time, I was actually praying to God for a transition out of the classroom because I felt like I reached the glass ceiling. And at this time, the level of support for educators in the classroom was at its all-time low, but the level of disrespect from administrators, from students, from parents was at its all-time high. So I was actually praying for a transition. And so when the position came about, I applied, got an interview, and I was offered the position. I left 1 week before my students took the state's test, and I did not have any regrets. And I didn't have regrets because along this time, when I was offered the position, my students were used to, people, adults going in and out their lives. And so I wanted to make sure that I had a communication with them, that they knew that I was doing this not only to better myself, but also to provide better for my family. And after them knowing that, then they gave me well wishes, and they were happy for me. And many of them I still keep in touch with. Matter of fact, a young lady emailed me the other day asking for a letter of recommendation. And so that's when LPI became reality to me.
So you said you this is just a question out of my curiosity. You did a lot of studying on the
Hmm.
planets and Earth. So are you a flat earther or a round earther?
Yeah. Oh, no, you did not. You went there. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so let me cease all of the flat earther stuff. Like, that's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I think they just want attention. Um, it's ridiculous. And that's all I should say. It's just despicable, really.
So how do you explain the flat earther science that seems to be factual?
I don't know. I don't know.
Cause some stuff makes some sense in for both parts. You know, flat earthers and round earthers, but these flat earthers gonna go out their way to make their facts be known.
Okay, well, I just want them to have evidence that they can walk to the edge of the earth and fall off.
I have a great idea. This is my idea since you studied the
What is that?
planets. That Earth is flat, but it's only flat on one part of it. It's not actually a full circle. It's a semicircle. You know, the bottom of the semicircle is flat. It's like a dome, basically. Earth is a dome.
Okay. I mean, hey, this is your show, But I'm just gonna put for the record that is not my viewpoint.
You don't think Earth a dome?
No, I don't.
And then when you get to the edge where people think you're gonna fall off, all the things we learned about in science, like gravity and inertia, just forces you to keep going around, and that's how you go around.
Um, no. I'm just gonna say no. No, 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 no. But you know what?
That's not how it works.
I wanna get back to this too. No, I don't think so. Mm-mm, mm-mm. But I want to say this for coding with the twist. I wanted to say that initially, coding with the twist was made to introduce the underestimated. I do feel that our black and brown children are deemed the underestimated. And it was to introduce them to computer science, robotics, and coding. And so when I think about the underestimated could be that population that I spoke of as their parent, one of their parents or both of their parents may be incarcerated. It could be that individual, that child that's on the autism spectrum. It could be the student who teachers don't know what to do with them because they finish all their work, before others, and they have nothing else to do. So then they result to distracting other people. It could be that kid that don't fit into anything else, but they love working with their hands. They don't like to talk much, but they like to work with their hands. So the underestimated could be anyone that isn't getting exactly what they need in a classroom of four walls.
So, what is your favorite part about educating students?
Um, Definitely the exposure, that light bulb moment. I think that that's going to be quite a common response around educators because we got into this business for exposure and introducing them, sparking the interest in something that they didn't even know existed. And so that light bulb moment is priceless. Having that light bulb moment open to a student that said, you know what, I didn't even know I liked this so much. I didn't know that this was something that I could actually do. And so it's the exposure. I have vowed to never ask a young person, oh, what is it that you want to be when you grow up? I have vowed to never ask a young person that again. And in turn, ask them, how do you want to change the world? See, the first question only allows them to say things that they think you want to hear. And for you to keep on walking and get out of their face so they can go back to doing whatever they were doing. But when you ask a young person, how is it that they want to change the world, then that's a little bit more thought provoking. See, I believe that I actually would never allow any adult to ask my children what it is that they want to be when they grow up. Because if you haven't exposed the kid to anything in particular for them to choose from, how could they answer the question?
Mm.
Are you leaving it up to TV to expose them? Are you leaving it up to music to expose them? Like, what are you thinking that they've been given their answers from or getting their answers from?
Mm.
Doesn't make sense.
That is deep, and that could be a very good topic, though. I like that because as a young age student, kids' brains are like sponges, and they're gonna absorb everything that's around them. And very true in what you said. If they're not
Absolutely.
exposed to, if they're not exposed to things, how can they know what they want to be? It's almost like we're putting
Hmm.
them, we're limiting them. We're giving them a limitation. You know, that's crazy. I never looked at it or thought
Yep.
about it from that point of view.
Hmm.
So, do you see yourself transitioning from just teaching science, or is it just going to be strictly science? Will you,
So,
what is your? I'm sorry, I was going to say what does your business plan consist of or look like in the next 5 years? How are you planning to shift it?
well, you know what? I am so happy you asked. I'm actually involved in a lot of things. And so, with education specialist for the Lunar and Planetary Institute, I mean, of course, that's my career, and I want to say that I work with 26 scientists that study every object in our solar system, and my job is to present the public with the things that they find. Like, that is my career, but that's not what I want to do forever. And I also want to say that I am honored and privileged to say that I am the first person of color to have this position in 52 years. How incredible is that? But I also want to say that I have other businesses. First one is Coding with a Twist. I also have Generational Wealth Financial Group. I also have On Fire to Inspire Education Consultant, and I'm also a professional speaker. So, with that being said, I want to transition into entrepreneurship 100% of time. Like I have plans 3 to 5 years to fire my boss. yes, I understand that I'm blazing a trail that hasn't ever been walked before, but I have now opened the door. And this way, I'm preaching the good news of LPI, all of our internships that we have available. I'm going into communities that didn't even know LPI existed. So I've been spreading the joy and the good news of it. However, there's going to be a time and a place where I take off that education specialist hat and I walk into entrepreneurship 100% of the time. As I was brought up and raised, we were all brought up to go to school, make good grades, go to college, find that awesome job. And, for the most part, I have followed that script. But I do not believe that going to a 9 to 5 is going to generate generational wealth for me and my family. It's no way that that's going to happen because having a job limits us, right? Time and money. But entrepreneurship allows us to have limitless time and money. And so entrepreneurship is definitely the goal.
Gotta get it. Got to.
Yeah.
So, how important is networking to you? How does it connect everything you want to accomplish in the next 3 to 5 years? How does it connect everything that you have going on right now with educating students? How important is networking?
Um, I mean, man, networking is an invaluable skill to have. It's definitely a skill. I how did I find out about this particular podcast? I mean, 1409 podcast, I was introduced to on Clubhouse, and that's a form of networking. And with us being inside and during the pandemic, I miss networking. I am a people person. I love being around people. I am a social butterfly. And so I was not always able to network with everybody that I wanted to.
All right, guys,
Can
we're
you hear me
having.
like this?
Yeah, yeah, we can hear you. There we go. We're having some technical difficulties.
Okay. Can you hear me like this?
Yeah, there we go, Miss Webb. I still can't hear you. Why she is Miss Webb is getting her audio. We're having technical difficulties, but I just want to remind everybody that candle and wax handcrafted candles, woodwick candles. If you're looking for those, go to www.jlovecandleco.com. Order these candles. They the bomb. They woodwick. They burn for like 4 days. Very, very distinctive fragrance. Some candles y'all want to burn for real. Make sure y'all go to that website and order some candles from J Love Candle Co. Also, for entrepreneurs that tuned in, if y'all looking for
Hello.
some
Can you hear
marketing
me
and
from this
branding
time?
experts, hey, there we go.
Can you hear me
Yes,
from
we
this
can hear
screen?
you. Yeah, we can hear
Okay.
you
Awesome.
good.
All right. Well, good. Okay. So I don't know where I was, but
We were talking about the
was
networking. How does it connect everything that you have going on right now?
So, network is definitely an invaluable tool. As I was saying before, the 1409 podcast, I found that out by networking. I was always, I'm a people person, so I love being around people. But being a network social butterfly. I didn't get an Instagram until I got on Clubhouse. And so using it as a tool to market my businesses, I mean, my businesses don't function without people. And so, with that being said, that's all of them. Generational Wealth Financial Group, educating communities of color about changing the financial landscape of their lives. So that definitely requires people. Coding with the twist, I'm introducing the underestimated. Those are people. Professional speaking, I have to have an audience. So every business venture that I'm a part of involves people. So networking is critical.
As we love to say, net worth equals net worth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And with also, I would like to piggyback on that and say, if the network that you're around, if they're comfortable being where they are, I think you need to find another network.
Gems. You just dropped some gems for real. So, Ms. Webb, how many times have you been on a podcast as a guest?
Actually, it's been about 6 times. It's been about 6 times, and I enjoy every unique experience from each of them because I've got to
Mhm.
highlight a different part of myself. And so I've enjoyed every interview that I've been a part of.
Okay, and what would you say is your favorite episode of the 1409 podcast?
There are a lot of them. Y'all have been doing a lot of work. But hands down, I would definitely like to say, and I actually wrote it down as I was
Mhm.
going through the interviews. And my favorite one definitely has to be Pop Darby. And he was talking about microfinancing and generational wealth.
Mhm.
That's part of my second venture, which is Generational Wealth Financial Group. So I definitely enjoyed his interview, his interaction. He does have a lot of knowledge, and matter of fact, I volunteer with him or volunteer at the same location as where he was, and that was with the organization Unity is Wealth. And so that had to be my favorite interview so far.
Okay, so who would you like to see on 1409 in the future?
So in the future, I'm also a part of this phenomenal women's organization called Promote Her. And there's this young lady, you've probably heard of her name, Mika Diamond. She is definitely a phenomenal young woman that's actually just purchased a book. I'm not, excuse me, purchased a book. She just written a book and it's being released. And so I would definitely like to see her because she's doing phenomenal things. She actually is a part of a radio show already, but just getting her story out instead of being the host of being the a guest on a show. And so that's definitely a person that I would recommend to be next up on the 1409 podcast.
Okay, we would definitely reach out and try to make that happen.
Ah,
S- So, we asked a lot of questions, but we got to do the question of today. And since
okay,
you
what is
are
it?
an education specialist and you like to study science, I think I was ask something along those lines. And the
Okay.
question of
And
today
then I have a question of
is
the day for you as well.
okay, okay. My question is the meaning of life the same for animals and humans?
No,
Can you explain
no,
it
I wouldn't.
scientifically?
I wouldn't. Yeah, well, I mean, I can give you my personal viewpoint. Um,
Mhm.
if we think about now, this may be offensive to some of your vegan fans out there, but ultimately, you know, animals, humans, we, our purposes, our life purposes are different, right? Animals, not all of them, but majority of them are here to give us nutrition and for us to eat them, to give us energy to, do the things that we do and are passionate about. Not all animals have that lifespan or life prediction, but majority of them do. And when we think about human lives, of course, we are abundance and multiply. Yes, that's the same for animals, but our lives and our expectations and our desires are different than animals. So I'm going to stick with my same answer and say, no, it's not the same. I feel like that was a trick question.
No, it wasn't a trick question. I just had to ask a question that was like a little controversy in with science because you love science. From
Yeah.
I guess looking from a scientific standpoint, I would say yes, but humans don't do what animals do. Animals are fruitful, they multiply, they don't, and we destroy our environment. As humans, how we live our lives, we
Yeah.
destroy the environment. But if you think about animals,
That's true.
they multiply and they give back into like the environment, but we just take from it all the time. So that's kind
Yeah.
of where I wanted to go with it.
That's true.
From yeah. So what's your question of
Okay.
today?
Well, my question of the day for you is, um, so have you heard of the Mars Perseverance rover?
Mm, no, I don't think I have.
Okay, so it was launched from Earth in July. And so the landing took 6 months to reach Mars.
Mm,
So can you imagine being on a road trip for 6 months? Can you imagine that?
no.
So the question would be, if it took 6 months from a machine, a rover, to get to Mars, if it took 6 months to get to Mars, how long do you think it takes for programmers to send communication to a machine that's 6 months away from us?
5 years.
No Googling.
No, I just did 6 months is half of a year, and I just did some math in my head, so I just said 5 years.
No, it's 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I guess with all the
Isn't that
satellites
awesome?
just like pinging, bouncing signals.
Yeah. And ultimately, the speed of light.
So we're communicating with through the speed of light.
Well, yeah, radio waves, sound waves,
Mm, I don't know.
streaming. You're using StreamYard.
Yeah. So we got satellites that pick up
Sound.
sound waves and transmit sound waves from something that takes 6 months to get to. But I can't have a good cell phone signal when I go through this certain spot. I don't believe it. No,
Hey,
I'm
they
just
don't
joking.
have
I'm
enough.
just joking.
They don't have enough towers. They don't have enough towers. But we think about the GPS, the global positioning system. But
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, yeah, we communicate.
Even
The scientists communicate with the rover. Go ahead.
even that though, My GPS be losing signal sometimes. Like you know, like I don't know, you know, like all right, so I used to stay in this
Dead
apartment.
zone.
Yeah, now before listen, I'm gonna tell you this. This is crazy, right? When I moved into this apartment, they told me that my signal for my internet and everything would be slower because of the location of this apartment in this apartment complex. Now, remind you that I'm doing DSL, like internet cables from the ground. So, how will my signal be affected because of the location of my apartment? Is what I don't understand. But you're telling me in 10 minutes, we can communicate to people that are 10, excuse, I said that wrong. In 10 minutes, we can communicate with people that are 6 months away in travel
Well,
distance.
technically, it's not people; it's a machine because we have not been successful into sending people to Mars. We're only sending machines, rovers to Mars.
Mhm.
So we're communicating with the machine.
But they can't communicate to any of my machines. That's right next to me.
That- That's not what their purpose was. Their purpose
Now
is
you
not
know
to
I'm petty.
supply you with internet. Right.
I'm petty. I'm low key petty. Nah, but that's
Shame on
interesting
you.
though. That's interesting. That's like
Hmm.
6 months away. And it takes 10 minutes.
To come in. I
I,
have another one for you.
okay.
So, when you're going outside, was it a nice day in Houston? Because we're in Tyler at the moment. So we're not in Houston, but we will be on tomorrow. So was it a nice day in Houston today?
I wouldn't be able to tell you that because I'm in South Carolina.
Oh, okay. I knew that. I knew that. Well, was it a pretty day in South Carolina?
Yeah, it was a decent day today. It was kind of hot, humid.
Okay. So the sun was out.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you know when you go outside and you look up into the sky and the sun rays are coming down on you? Actually, when you look up at the sun, that's actually the sun 8 minutes ago. So technically, we're always living in the past. What you think about that?
Um, I think the sun is inside our ecosystem and not so many million miles away because that's just my opinion. I don't want to
When you
go
say ecosystem,
in
when you say ecosystem, do you mean our solar system?
I mean, if this is what I mean, if Earth has a firmament, then the sun is inside that firmament, like a light bulb in a room. Between day and night, somebody flicking our light switch off. That's what it is. The sun going up and down.
Well, okay, as long as that's happening 24 hours within 24 hours
This is my
while
theory
the
of.
earth is rotating on its axis.
So listen, we, let's talk science. How can the
No,
sun?
no,
I got another question for
no.
you. Why I can't ask my question? Why can't I
Mm-mm,
ask my question?
mm-mm.
Listen,
Because you went from flat earth to the sun being its own ecosystem to us being no. The answer is no.
all right, can I
No.
ask? Let me just ask this question. This is gonna make sense.
Okay.
Listen, how can if we're talking about how light travels, how can we see the sun from so many miles away. But my flashlight and my car headlights only go to a certain distance. Why they ain't shining million miles away? You ever thought about
Well,
that?
first of all, no, I haven't thought about that. But first of all, the sun is a natural light, right? It's not created, it wasn't created by, humans. It wasn't created by man. It's a natural light. Matter of fact, the sun is actually a star. It's the closest star to our planet. And so that's why it has the greater light. And I had never thought about the lights being in distance and they fade away. But I do know the making of the light
Listen, let me blow your
is
mind
only
even a little
supposed to
bit
be.
more.
I don't know. That's weird.
Can I
Go
blow your
ahead.
mind a little bit more about when I said like the Earth is in our ecosystem? All right, if you think about your headlights,
No,
right? No, listen.
no,
This is gonna
no.
make perfect sense. Can I just say this? It's gonna make perfect sense. If you think about your headlights, right? You have dim lights, and they are in. If you look at your headlights, the way it's shaped, it's a firmament. All right, you have
Okay. A firmament or a filament?
bright light. It's a firmament. If you look at the back part of your lights, it has like this aluminum kind of like it's a cone.
Yeah,
Like every
yeah,
light
yeah.
shape basically is a
Hmm.
cone. Headlight shape is a
Yeah,
cone.
I got
All
you.
right. So
Hmm. Yeah.
if you have your dim lights on, they shine at a certain distance, right? Because that's that firmament. That's that, that semicircle that I was talking about. Now, if you turn your bright lights on, they shine at a brighter distance because that firmament is created different. You know what I'm saying? So if we're talking about how light travels, maybe Earth is a semicircle and the sun is in that firmament and we can see it because it travels within that firmament and at that distance, which is such and such million miles away, 93 million miles away. Because your bright lights on your car are probably only gonna shine 3 miles down the road. Maybe. Your dim lights only shine what, a mile down the road, I'll say? Quarter mile down the road, half a mile. So how can we see the sun? Light is light. You know what I'm saying? If light travels, it's light. Whether it's light from the sun, whether it's light from a light bulb, I feel like light is light. If we're talking about measuring things in light, light is light.
I am speechless. And yes, I do believe that Ken is definitely trolling. And you know what? I'm just gonna
I'm
say
not trolling.
okay.
No, I'm not trolling because yeah, people like to say I'm trolling, but what I'm saying makes perfect sense in my head. Like, so this, listen, I'm gonna tell you, like, don't get me wrong, I love science too. But I had an interesting conversation with a guy one day, and we were talking about the sun and how light shine.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so, and this is like this is really my big thing with the sun. If it's so many miles away and Earth is
Mm-hmm.
not a firmament, as I'm saying, how can the light from Earth be from the sun be pinpointed into that circle that we see that is the sun? You know what I'm saying? Like if that makes sense too. Like I have
How
to like explain it like with a flashlight. Okay. Like if you shine your flashlight like really close to something, you can see the ring, but as it
Mm-hmm.
move, how light travels.
Yeah.
If you move far
Mm-hmm.
away from with the flashlight, it's not really a circle anymore. You
Mm-hmm.
can't see that circle. It's more so
Mm-hmm.
it's like a, I
Yeah.
mean, it's light,
Like
but
an
you don't really have
ambient
a
or
form.
yeah.
Yeah, but you don't
Mm-hmm.
have a shape or a form of light.
Mm-hmm.
So how can the sun be a
Mm-hmm.
circle? And it's like this, like, and then I put it like this too. So if the sun is in outer space, how is it dark? You know what I'm saying? How is it dark in space? If the sun is this big light that's in space, how is space dark? Because it's like if you're in a room and you cut the lights on, the whole room is lit up. You know what I'm saying? It's not like certain corners of the room
Yeah.
is dark.
Well, yeah, but you have to understand too that the sun is the greater light in I often say our ecosystem because you said ecosystem, but
See,
our solar
see,
system. You throw
our
me off.
ecosystem,
But
our
the sun is
ecosystem.
only in no, no. The sun is in our solar system. It's the greater light in our solar system. And so we only don't see it is when remember that while if this is the sun, the earth is revolving around the sun while the earth is rotating, right? So in that hour of 24, we have day and night. And once the earth make one complete revolution around the sun, we have 4 seasons, and that's how we get direct and indirect sunlight.
Listen,
And
yeah, I get what you're saying, but if I shine a flashlight on at you, right, and your eyes are open, you can rotate around this flashlight. Follow me now. This flashlight can rotate around you. Are you still?
but the
Are you
flashlight, the
ever gonna
sun
be in
doesn't
darkness?
rotate. The sun doesn't rotate.
But the sun is light, so light. So that goes back to the point of affirming of the flashlight. If the sun doesn't rotate and it's just this ambience of light, that's back to my room theory. If you're in a room and you cut on the lights and you rotate around in that room, or if you rotate around that room, are you ever going to be in a point of darkness?
Well, yes, 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 yes. Because listen, the source of the light is not moving. You are. You're on Earth, so you the one have to move. So yes, eventually you're gonna go into a dark space because you're the one moving, not the source of light.
It still doesn't make sense to
Okay,
me,
it's
but
like
that
your
was a good
microphone.
answer, Mr.
Yes,
Webb.
listen.
That's a
No,
good answer,
I'm
Mr.
serious.
Webb.
Listen. Okay, look at your mic. Look at your mic. Your mic can be your source of light, right? Now, what I want you to do is slowly turn around. Go ahead. Do it. Do it. Slowly turn around.
But
But your
listen
mic
to,
is your source of light.
but this is, I get what you're saying, but this is what I'm saying as far as like the headlight theory. If the sun is not in a firmament or this cone, as we're talking like a flashlight, and it's not being directed towards something, it's not, so the sun is not a light bulb, is what you're saying. If you think about a light bulb,
Mm,
just think about a light bulb versus a flashlight, because a flashlight is in a firmament. If you think about a firmament, you have the flat
yeah,
surface, which is the lens, and the cone, whatever is made out of. That's a firmament,
plastic.
right? So
Yeah,
that light is being directed at something. So is our sunlight
right.
just
Okay.
being directed? Because it doesn't make sense, because this is why I say it doesn't make sense, because if it's being directed at something, but sometimes the moon can show up orange, and science says that sunlight is reflecting off the moon, and that's why the moon looks orange. So is our sunlight being directed
Mm-hmm.
at something through a firmament, or is it just light. Like you cut up, like I'm saying, when you walk in the room, if you think about space and space being dark, if you walk in, it's just say you walk in your room in that space, and when you want sunlight, you hit your light bulb. That room is lit. You know what I'm saying? Because your light bulb is not like
Yeah,
a projected light. It isn't. It's not controlled to a certain point. You feel what I'm saying? It's like it's here to light up the
I
room.
do.
So is the sun just like
Mm-hmm.
projected light to light up Earth and not space, or is it a light bulb for space?
Well, see, one of the things that I want you to also realize that space is so vast and things are so spread apart that potentially our sun, remember that our sun is a medium-sized star. It's not even the largest star in the galaxy, which means that it probably is not illuminating any other planet because it's just a medium-sized star.
How they know that?
And so what I hear,
How they
science,
know what a medium sized
it's
star is?
science.
Nah.
It's science. How else would I be able to explain it? And we all know that stars have life cycles. So eventually our sun is gonna end because it has a life cycle. But I hear your theory, and what I don't hear in your theory is the movement. I still don't hear movement in your theory. See, the sun is always the sun because it's the sun. But what changes is the direction of the sunlight because it's the indirect and direct sunlight. Direct sunlight in the summer, indirect sunlight in the winter.
But that is like my theory does cover movement because I'm asking, is the sun projected light or is it a light bulb in a room? Because if we take it
No,
back to
I
this theory,
believe
if
that
you
it's
if so you saying that it's a firmament, Earth is in a firmament then.
no, no,
And the
I'm
sun is
not
it.
saying that.
So what are you saying?
No,
Like
no,
that's what
no,
I'm
no, no,
saying.
no.
That's what
No,
my theory
I'm
is.
not saying that. Mm-mm. No, I said I hear your theory. I didn't say I agree with your theory. I hear your theory. So I don't think that. I mean, the sun is just the sun. It's a. I don't even want to say it's a projected light, even though I'm leaning towards that point. Like it's
Yeah, see,
a
because I
direct
got some
light.
I got some. These my questions. I ain't heard nobody ask these questions. These my questions. This what I be thinking. I be looking
No,
at like,
you
and
know
I
what?
be thinking, cause look, Miss Will, I'm gonna do it right now. I'm in my room right now. We talking about Earth rotating. I still see light though. There's no dark point in my room. You see what I'm saying? Like if even if I go around this computer, it's no dark point in my room. But like if the light was projected in a certain area of that room and I moved out of it, yeah, it's dark. So is the sun projected light or is it just a light bulb? That's what I want to know. Like even when
I
you think
think
about
that
other
it's
stars and
a light
they
bulb. I would say it's a light bulb. It's not projected light. It's a light bulb. It's just there. It's just there.
then it doesn't
It's
make
a light
sense.
bulb. It's
Like
just
light
there.
doesn't make sense to me. If if the sun is a light bulb,
You
light
know
doesn't
what
make sense
though?
to me.
You 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 know what though? I definitely want you. I mean I think that you have some fascinating questions. But I mean I encourage you to come out to speak with our scientists. We have free public forums all the time. Seriously, because it's definitely thought provoking. But I mean I would never have enough guts to say that to ask those questions. But if you believe your theory, hey, I think you need to talk to some experts. However, I am not that person.
No,
I
science
am
is
I'm admitting it.
no, I'm just saying science is a theory. Science starts as a theory, and then you build a hypotenuse and you do
Absolutely.
an experiment. But what
Well,
you
not
love in
hypotenuse
science, I
because
just
that's
thought
in
it
math, but hypothesis.
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 You know. Hypothesis. I'm sorry, I said hypotenuse. That's a part of science too, because you got to do a little bit of math and science. Now,
It's
don't do me
math,
like that,
baby.
Miss Well. But math is science. Science is math. You know, but hypothesis, not hypotenuse. Hypothesis. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I always thought that because this guy was trying to explain light to me, and I was like, yeah, I ain't buying that. Either the sun is a projected light, it can't be a light bulb. And
Okay.
that's just my theory. I'm not trying to convince anybody on it. But like you said, I feel like it's a valid point and a valid arguable point. Maybe I should talk to
Yeah,
some
absolutely.
scientists.
Heck yeah. I think you
Yeah.
should take this show on the road.
Now people thinking like, dang, people probably in there playing with their
Hmm.
flashlights now. That's projector light. And they probably playing with their light bulbs. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is a light bulb. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, whatever you can do to get the people thinking, that's all that matters.
Oh yeah. So after we do the question of the day, that was a long segment. I don't know, it was fun though. I like conversations like that. That was fun. You have fun?
Good. I
You had
did.
fun
I did.
thinking
I
like,
thank you
what in
for
the
that.
world
Because
is this
again,
guy thinking?
yes.
Yeah. So we like to do a segment what we call this to that. And this to that
Okay.
is basically, you know, like kind of like would you rather. I'm gonna ask you, would you,
Okay.
this or that? Um,
Okay.
let's see. Let me think of something. I kind of like to try to like when I do my this or that, we don't like write these down. We just come off the top of the head. But I kind of like try
Okay.
to like get it into like your feel first, and then we can go. All right. So yeah, this is
Okay.
my this or that. You said there's no age limit. Well, you kind of answered this one, but would you rather teach younger kids or older kids? Which you kind of already answered.
Younger.
Younger. Yeah. Okay. Um, I'm thinking. Okay, so coding or earth science?
Coding.
Coding. Why would you say coding?
Because coding is an innate skill, or it's a learned skill that can flat out change the trajectory of your career. Like one of the things that again I talked about is entrepreneurship. Even though I am an educator, I am not always preaching, hey kids, you need to go to college, you need to go to college, you need to go to college. Now I do believe that there are some skills that you can learn from college and learn from development wise. And if you go that route, that's okay. But the job is to fine tune those skills, right? But eventually getting to a point where you can fire your boss. So that's why I say coding, because then when people come to you for projects, if you're able to solve that problem, you can name and write your own ticket versus being just educating someone on earth science. That is great to explore that, but what problems are you solving by exploring earth sciences? I know that we're uncovering, the history of the world, but
Mhm.
ultimately, what problems are you solving? So that's why I say coding and versus earth science.
Yeah, we still got problems to figure out with earth science too, though. Like, is the sun? No,
Yeah, we do, but who's
I'm
paying
back
for
trolling.
that?
I'm back trolling. I'm trolling. I'm sorry.
Shame on you.
I think that should be the name of this episode with Miss
Yep.
Sha'Rell Webb. Is the sun projected light or a light bulb? No, I'm just joking.
Oh my goodness.
Then I had a good this to that, but I made myself forget with the jokes. Oh, it was a good one.
Shame.
Oh, no. I got it. Uh, being an educator in a school system or educating on your terms.
Educating on my terms, hands down. Educating on my terms, hands down. There's a lot of red tape in ISD. There's a lot of red tape within four walls that teachers who aren't unorthodox. I was an unorthodox educator, and even though my principal allowed me to do certain things, there was still some restrictions. And so, being a consultant, being able to do my own things on my own terms is the way I like it to happen. So, hands down, um, being able to do my own thing.
Okay. I gotta say educated because I don't want people to think that you just tutoring people in science. You know, it's a
Right?
difference.
Yeah.
A major difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Matter of fact, I'm coaching some teachers right now in fifth and eighth grade science because I am a consultant outside of being an education specialist. And then I also coach teachers in creating cultural relevant lessons for their children of color. And on the same aspects of educating with generational wealth financial group, I'm educating our communities of color regarding their financial plan. You know, a lot of times we don't like to talk about money, but because we don't have great relationships with money. So besides coding, besides earth and space scientists, my third favorite thing to talk about is definitely money.
I love to talk about money too. All right, Miss Webb, you came prepared with a question of the day. Did you come prepared with any this or that you wanted to ask? Because I don't think I'm this or that out.
Hmm. Let's see. I may borrow some that I've heard from the other episodes. Um,
Okay, that's fine.
okay, so no, I'm gonna make up one. I'm gonna make up one. So your mm, let's see, how are you asking this? Like, would you rather? Let's see, not would you rather, but
Just think of two
I
things
guess.
and just ask. Like I would say, like if I had to like put it in like simple terms, I would say like
Mm-hmm.
water or soda, kind of like something like that.
Oh,
Water or
water.
soda.
Okay, I got you. And
Yeah, like
I would say
this or
water.
that.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So mine would be high school or post high school. So like young adult or high school.
Um, I would say young adult solely because
Why?
uh actually high school. I'm gonna recant my answer. And I'm gonna say high school because
Okay. Why?
a lot of people say high school ain't taught them nothing about like the real world, but like for me, like high school actually taught me everything about the real world. Like the from the structure of society, like where you lay, you know what I'm saying? Like where you lie in the totem pole, quote unquote the totem pole. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like
Mm-hmm.
uh it taught me diversity, you know, like what to expect with different cultures or different people. High school
Okay.
taught me about money because I had my first job when I was in high school. And you know, it wasn't all
Okay.
about what I wanted, but at the time what I felt like I needed. You know, I was one of the seniors that was able to pay for my senior supplies and do stuff on my own because at that point I felt like that's what I needed. So I had to budget for that. while doing what I wanted to do.
Okay.
So like high school taught me
Okay.
a lot. Now I'm not I will say like the advisors or the teachers in high school didn't necessarily make it their goal to teach me that, but just by living, I learned a
Okay.
lot through high school.
Okay. That's a great response. Awesome. Awesome. So, would you say Cadillac or Lincoln?
Come on, Miss Sha'Rell. I'm a GMC. If it's Ford and GMC, I'm gonna pick GMC every day. Give me that old Cadillac. I used to drive a Cadillac, but I hit a deer with it, and that was the end of that.
I know it was.
Yeah, KT like to call it. KT like to call it the the domestic foreign. You know, because you just by like
Oh my goodness.
how expensive the maintenance is and everything is with a Cadillac. You just call it
Yeah, the domestic foreign.
yeah, the domestic
Yeah,
foreign.
I mean, yeah.
Cause
All right.
you
So,
driving a domestic car, but you feel like you're driving a foreign. How the maintenance and stuff is.
well, that was definitely a go to for my dad. He was definitely a Cadillac person. He was a Cadillac person. Then later on, Lincoln started to be in his thing, but we had like a new car frequently,
Mm.
new Cadillac.
Especially if you can get you a CTSV, then you doing something. Or XTS. That's an older Cadillac convertible with the Corvette engine in it. Yeah, see now you doing something. But hey.
Okay, I did not know he had a Corvette engine though.
Yeah, the XTS. They don't even make them anymore. But the STS convertible Cadillac had a Corvette engine in it. It was because GM makes
Hmm.
like Chevrolet, Pontiac, and like the thing about GM is they have cars that look alike, but just a different name. So like if you look at the Chevy Suburban, the Yukon Denali XL, and the Cadillac
Yeah, they have the
Escalade,
same platform.
yeah, they all look alike, but they just have, but that's General Motor Company, but it's just
Yeah,
like, it's
it's like
it's like the
Toyota
Tahoe is
and
the base
Lexus,
model.
right?
Yeah. Because Lexus, was it Toyota owns Lexus? One of them owns one, but like
Yeah,
one is
it's
the luxury
Toyota.
brand. Yeah, Toyota owns Lexus, but
Yeah,
Lexus is Toyota's like luxury brand. Like the same with Honda and Acura.
gotcha.
Like if you
Uh
get a
huh.
Honda, but Honda owns Acura, and Acura is Honda's like luxurious brand. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
The same is true with uh like Volkswagen, and I want to say it's Volkswagen and Porsche maybe. It's something crazy. I
Oh,
think
really?
Volkswagen owns Porsche. Yeah. And like
Mm.
Fiat, the Fiats, they bought like Dodge, Chrysler and all that. They call it Mopar now, like Mopar parts. But yeah, the car world is very like
Okay, I didn't know that.
strange. Yeah. But I would definitely pick a Cadillac though over the Lincoln.
Okay. Well, cool. Well, cool.
You gonna
Awesome.
pick that Lincoln? You gonna pick a Lincoln?
No, I wouldn't. I have one more for you. So,
Okay.
would you rather I mean, see, bowling or skating?
Mm, that's a good one. Cause I like the bowl, but I'm gonna say skating because I'm spontaneous. And although I like to bowl, but after like 2 games, I don't want to bowl no more. It get boring. But you can skate, and you skating with people is funny because somebody might fall. You never know what can happen while you skating.
Yeah,
So I'd rather skate
that's true.
because I want to see somebody
That's
fall.
true.
I want to.
Well, you're getting a
I want to
little,
push somebody.
you're getting a little older, so oh my goodness.
KT said he rather
Ken said
bowl.
bowling. Okay. He's being safe.
Yeah, I want to go
Yeah.
skating.
Okay. Well,
I want to see
that's a good
somebody
one
in the
though.
skating ring doing some ATL skating and roll bounce skating. I want to see if people actually doing that in real
I think
life.
that would be cool to see. Right. I think that'd be cool to see, but I'm too uncoordinated to do that. So that's definitely is not my skill set, a part of my skill set.
True. You got some good this and that. Look at you. You came through. You came through with a question of today. You came through with some this or that. You
Yep.
weren't playing. You was ready, huh?
Yep. Hashtag stay ready.
All right, Miss Sha'Rell Webb. Go ahead and plug in one more time everything that you have going on. Let the listeners know.
All right. Well, thank you again for having me. It was indeed a pleasure for all of your listeners out there. My name is Sha'Rell Webb again. I am an education specialist with the Lunar and Planetary Institute. I have Coding with a Twist, where I introduce the underestimated, never the underrepresented to the world of computer science, robotics, and coding. I also have Generational Wealth Financial Group, where I'm educating you on putting a financial plan in place. A lot of times you talk about not wanting to talk about life insurance, but that's the first thing we bring up when someone passes away. So I can help you put those things in place so your family can be financially set upon your passing. Also, I have on Fire to Inspire Education Consultant. So if you are an educator who are finding it hard to find those or creating lessons for those children of color in your classroom, please get at me because I can help you come up with those culturally relevant lessons. And always, if you're looking for someone to motivate your audience, please get at me as well because I am a public speaker. Thank you so much. And again, my name is Sha'Rell.
Hey, make sure y'all follow Miss Sha'Rell Webb on Instagram at SW underscore on fire to inspire. It's the
Absolutely. Thank
1409.
you.
It's the 1409 podcast. You know where to find us. Always press record TV. Make sure you get the app on your Fire Stick, Smart TV. Nobody Grinds Like Us Network. Make sure you download the app on your smartphone. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, Pandora, anywhere you get your podcast for the free. Follow us on YouTube at 1409 Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow the page on IG at 1409 Podcast. Twitter, Facebook, all the same, 1409 Podcast. Make sure you check out our website at www.1409podcast.com. We have all our episodes uploaded there, along with some merch. And what we're doing right now for people who want to podcast but don't know how and feel like they need some guidance, we're offering free 15-minute discovery calls on helping you start your podcast. Also, you can check us out on Wednesday, 7:30 in the recession proof room on Clubhouse, talking about building that podcast from scratch. Make sure y'all follow my guy, man, KT. He's not here, but he's here with us in spirit, man. Make sure y'all follow him on IG at 843 Ambassador. Yes. Make sure y'all go to Express. He an Express ambassador right now. So, make sure y'all go to Express and get y'all some Express clothes. Express men, for real. You know to follow me. It's your boy GualaMeetsWorld on IG at GualaMeetsWorld. Make sure y'all tapping into the music on all the major streaming platforms. I'm now on Always Pressure Core TV as well. My video and content is on there. And I'm on Art Monkey Radio. So make sure y'all tap in. This has been another episode of the 1409 podcast. And we are out. Peace.